uh, topic we are discussing for now is that why Python is basically a good programming language for beginners. And if you are, say, new to programming language or you have left the programming behind in your past, so you can start with Python because starting with the other language can be kind of tedious and the learning curve can be steep. Python is a good alternative. Uh, so first we start with the agenda, like what are the topics we are going to discuss. And yes, this is a Python code. So topics we are discussing is basically starting from what is programming. So I'll again some kind of repeat what Amit sir has told, but in a brief manner. And we will discuss what are different programming languages available, and then there will be a small brief history, and then we will go for the main discussion why Python is a good starting point for beginners and what are the features of Python and benefits of learning Python. Then we will go right into coding session and we will do a live coding session comparing Python and C languages to know what's the difference between the languages and what where the Python stands out. Starting with programming. Programming is, as per definition, this I have taken from the dictionary.com. So the programming is the act or process of planning or writing a program. Now, program is a kind of, again, we need to define it. So a program is basically a plan or action to accomplish a specific end. So you want to achieve a something goal and there's a specific plan to it. Then another is a plan or schedule of activities procedure to be followed. So basically a program is a kind of stepwise manner you write your program, or a program it's not necessary to be a computer program. Definitely we are going to talk about computer program today, but the thing is that program can be like you are going on a travel, so you make a program, you make a itinerary, so that can be a program. Or basically you have a recipe for say cooking something, that can also be a program. So when say you have a good recipe and your friend asks give me the recipe, so you tell him or her the stepwise manner in what the ingredients are needed and what they need to do. So basically you're programming your friend to do that task, and that particular program can be repeated a number of times and you will get around the same results. There may be some human error, but in terms of programming language, whatever language you use, say you use Hindi to communicate with your friend the recipe of particular the recipe of that particular dish. So that language can be Hindi and English. So basically, the language that you and your friend both understand and can communicate with. Similarly, computer requires a set of instructions that it can understand, and since you have to write those instructions, you should also understand those instructions. But in computer, the computer language is very different than our normal language. We can communicate our emotions through it, but computer cannot understand emotions. So basically, there are some very logical kind of scenario with the programming language. So it kind feels very mechanical in terms of writing it. So the programming language that we have available, there's a big list. This list by no means is exhaustive. These are basically the most famous programming language now in the world. So among those, we are going to discuss about Python and C. When say a beginner enters in the field of programming or starts to programming, he gets jumbled up basically which programming language to learn and what to do with it. So we will discuss these things right now. So basically, before start, a brief history of Python. So as Amit sir told, the foundation was laid in 1980s, and the founder is Guido van Rossum. He is from Netherlands, Dutch person, and he basically wrote down grammar of it in the basic Python is written in English language. So how to basically the Python programming language works. Then he started its implementation in 1989 so that anyone can use it. Then in 1991 he published his first code, And in 1994 came the Python 1.0. Then in Python 2.0, there's a list comprehension and garbage collection system. Basically, that increases the speed of writing and increases the like, since the Python programming is a dynamically typed language, so it needs a garbage collection system at the backend. And on December 3rd, 2008, the Python 3.0 was launched, and then after that it just took off, and it has now become a really famous language. And so let's see how Python grew from 2001. On the 2001, it was the 11th most used language. Then we will start to see. So then it from since then it's just growing. So you can see in 2014 it became third most used language, and by the end of 2019 now it's one of the most used languages, and it's basically showing the percentage of users based on different internet sites. So the main question again we came to why Python is a good starting point. The thing is that Python is written keeping in mind its readability. Programming language, if you start reading a program written by someone else, or after some time even by you only, you will see that there's a lot of jargon in there. There are a lot of symbols, and the keywords are somewhat complicated. So you need to basically draw a kind of flow chart, or spend some time to understand it. But in Python, it's very close to English language, and you can read it easily. Just like going through lines, you will be able to understand it clearly. So due to readability, you are basically know how to basically convert your code into the program you want to write, whatever you want your computer to do. So, and it's very, because of its readability and the ease of syntax, it's very quick to learn. The learning curve is not so steep. It's very gradual in terms of the basically the steps that you have to take in learning the program. And so, and since it's very close to English, uh, you do not have to memorize a lot of syntax. The syntax is very common, and the words that have been used to design the programming language are commonly used in English language. So if you are going to write the program, you will basically can start off after a few, say, short course as well. Then these things that I've told, that it's easy to learn, it's readable and very close to English. Then the basic doubt comes to mind whether it's useful or not. Is it a toy programming language that just needs you to basically it can feel like a stepping stone to other languages. Definitely it's a stepping stone to other language, but Python itself is very powerful, and it can be used in doing actual tasks in actual professional level. So this sums up the ease of learning Python. So this, so basically, you can see the person feels like Harry Potter wizard himself after learning coding. That is how you are going to feel if you start learning Python, or start learning any coding program. It feels like a superpower, because you get the ability to do a lot of stuff. Computer is a very good tool to do the things with. So the features of Python, it's an interpreted language. That means that the program is basically executed during runtime. So whenever I write a program and I give the interpreter the command to run it, it will go from line to line and run the program line by line. Then it's a cross-platform language. That means you can run this thing, the Python language, on basically any machine, Windows, be it a Windows machine, Linux machine, or Mac. So basically, you can run it on all platforms. You do not have to write the code again and again for particular machines. It's free and of open source, so basically there you can use it for any kind of thing. And open source means like there's a huge community supporting it, so you can there's a lot of support out there for this one, so you can use this without any doubt that in future its production might get stopped. So it will go. It's very extensible. That means it can be compiled using other languages as well. So basically, Python, if the most you see the most used Python is written actually in C and C++. It's a high level language that is written in a low level language that is C and C++. Then there are other flavors as well, like Jython is there that is written in Java. Then IronPython is that is written very close to .NET framework. Then there are Ruby Python as well. There are a lot of other flavors. So it Python can work with other languages as well. Now it has a multiple programming paradigms. So basically there are multiple programming paradigms out there. Some prefer structural, some functional, then objective oriented approach. So these three paradigms it can follow very well. They are not strictly enforced in this one. So basically you can choose any one of your like. Then there's a last standard library. What that means is basically once you install the Python into your computer, you do not need to download any other libraries to do most of the tasks. Definitely, there are a lot of modules and packages available out there, but from the get-go, you will be able to do a lot just out of the box. Then GUI programming support. So GUI is basically graphical user interface. You can develop graphical games from this one and graphical applications from using Python. So there's a lot of GUI support as well. Then it's integrated, as I told you. The Python works very well with other languages. In some manner, people say it's a glue language. That's basically if you have a C++ program and you have a Java program, you want both to talk to each other, then in between you can use Python, because Python is very good in basically integrating with other languages. Then it's a dynamically typed language. What that means is you type the commands and you can execute that in interpreter. And dynamically typed is basically you you have say a variable. Variable, you do not have to define its type. It can change its type as you go on. So basically, if you start with a number, it can then store a word as well. It can store a long list as well. So there is no restriction on that. Okay, and the benefits of learning Python is basically it's a very powerful language. It's used in real world, so there's that benefit. It's easy to learn. It easy to comprehend. So if you start learning Python, you will be able to write very powerful programs in lesser time as compared to other languages. Then flexibility is there. There's over 125,000 third-party Python libraries. What that means, because it's an open source platform, people are contributing to it from all domains. It's easy because it's easy to learn. The researchers and the scientists, then other programmers are contributing to the Python community every day. So it has now become a Swiss Army knife of computer languages. That means that it is used in almost every domain, be it not only computer science domain, it is used in biology as well. It's used in, say, mechanical engineers are also using it. So there's no restriction on the domain. As you can see, it's used in many industries. This is just the tip of iceberg. It is used in music industries as well. So it is a massive support base, as I told you, because it's an open source. People are just building libraries for it. They're building a really good ground for you guys, and you can as well you support the community. Say if you have an idea and you want to say develop a library, you can do that easily. Then it is also said to be a prototyping language. What that means, it since it's a easy to learn, easy to implement, and the code that you get to write is very, say, a concise code. It's very a small code, so you can write it again and again and modify it really fast. And that is basically where the prototype stage, how the prototype stage should work. You should prototype fast and fail fast so that you can prototype again, make it better as soon as possible. So there's where the Python science basically, that you can write the code, then see if it works or not, and then take the steps necessary. So without wasting any further time, let's get into the Python versus C coding. I'll switch from this to my editor. So I'm sharing a different screen right now. So this is just a text editor I'm using right now here. Sublime Text is the name of the editor. So the difference that from normal text editor is that it highlights the syntax of particular programming language. It is can be used to write all kinds of programming language, and it will highlight that particular syntax, as you will see now. So first I will write a C program. I'll just save it. So just like tradition, we will start with the hello world program. So in C, you get to start. You have to start with uh, including the library first, because C does not come very packed with libraries. So it's a basically standard input output library, and I'll declare the main function. The main function is necessary in C language. From here, I can write the hello world. We'll save it. And in Python, just save it as hello world.py. That's Python extension of it. And in Python, you just get to write print hello world. And that's it. This is the most the smallest code that you can run in both the languages. So I'll just run it. So here's I'm in the CMD right now. I'm going to run command. So first I'll compile the C program. The basic difference between the C and Python is that the C program is should be compiled first, then it will run. The complete program gets converted into the machine code, and then that code runs on the machine. And Python, it's an interpreted language, so it will run directly. There's no need of compiling it. So I'll start. My output name is demo, and file name is okay. I'll write this hello only, and hello world.c. So it will take hello world.c into it. GCC is the compiler name, and it will give the output hello. Okay. Okay, I forward to this one. To this one. Okay, and now I have to run. Just let me show you in the demo. This is the compiled form of it. I gave it output as hello. In Windows, it comes at hello hello.exe. In other systems, say Mac or Linux, the format is different. So it's basically based on the system, and you have to compile it depending on the system again and again. So I'll just execute the hello, and here it comes hello world. Same I will do with the Python. Just the command is Python and the name of hello world.py. Okay, it will just type hello world. So see, there's no compilation here. I did not create any other file. It just takes in the file and runs with it. Now I'll take my agenda as I told you. This was a Python program. I'll just copy paste it and see what we'll get out of it.
लिनक्स का यूज कर रहे हैं क्या?
So now you got the topics, and just by simply typing it
विंडोज पे कर रहे हैं
in the manner that looks like very close to what you want to get the output, and the virtual meet equal to true, that it is a boolean. So if this is true, whatever that virtual meet, we are in the virtual meet right now, so that's how I have written there. So if true, it just prints that thing. Now one thing that is to noted is that I start the syntax is here. If virtual meet, then there's colon there, and after that the the print is indented. So basically how the Python detects when the code is basically that uh, so how it exits, how it determines is basically using the indentation. So wherever there's a white space there, it will judge that this, okay, this is inside my if statement, and I'll execute it. Similarly, if I try to run this program in C, you will notice a huge difference there. So there's a same print. I'll just change it to printf. I'll have to use double quotation and semicolon and band. Now the program that it will create is that since I've typed it as if it has to be typed, the C will not directly take it. It will show a lot of errors. So to avoid that, I have to use the escape character. That's basically backslash. So once I type escape character, it will not take into consideration the whatever the comes after it. So it will not take into account. Okay. So it will not take into the account the enter that I put into it. So this kind of thing you have to do in C to get the required output. Let's see if it runs or not. Output came, but at what cost? You have to type the backslash n is basically new line character. You have to type that. Then because I have manually literally pressed enter in the writing the program, so just to make it look beautiful, I had to do this so that other programmer can understand it. But just to do that, I had to add a new line character and an escape sequence so that it does not take whatever basically I have entered. So let's start a new program. One more thing I want to show you is that you have seen that I can take input from the user as well. In Python, I will use it to showcase that the interpreter basically runs line by line. So say I'll take input from user in terms of enter number, and I'll type Debris there just to create an error. So basically the Python runs line by line. It will go to virtual meet equal to true. Then if virtual meet, then it will print this. Then it will ask for input. So it will wait there. It will not show error till it gets to this line. Since I have created a variable that has not been given any assigned any value, it should create error. Now the topics have been printed and it's so now it's been printed asking for a number. So I'll just give it 42, and now it shows error because now it has gone to next line. So it's not like it checks for errors. Same way if I do with this one, equal to scanf. So I have to write enter first. Okay. So another difference is that I have to declare the variable first and declare its type as well. And here there is another cryptic sequence that is, it will give the address to scanf, address of A, where it will store the value. And then after that, I will just type again Debris. So you will see that it will just reach the error just at the comparison only. At the so what is this? Basically compiles all the series. It compiles all the program in its single run and change it to basically a binary file that the complete program, and if sees whatever error, it will show you just there. So there are a number of errors. It will show you all those errors in one go. Where Python, it will go line by line. If there's a single error, it will come out and it will tell you that error. It will count. Okay. So hello world program is over here. I'll create a new file. So the next program we are going to look at is swap two numbers. This is the I'll go through most basic program that you may be familiar with, whatever you have learned in your curriculum so far. So I'll just create a program and save it as swap.c. In this one, I'll create a new program and swap.py. So first I'll excuse me. First I'll start with C. Here again I have to include. So I'll just copy paste it from here. because this thing is repetitive, and remove this one. So first I'll start with declaring the variable. Here I'll be taking the input from the user, the two numbers, then I'll print out by swapping those two numbers. So there's a first and second, and I have to use a temporary variable. I'll show you just in a minute. So first thing to notice is that I have to first declare the variable, that its type as well. Int is the type, and these are the variables. That is should be strictly followed in C, otherwise it will raise error. So I'll prompt the user to enter the first number here. Enter first number. Again, to store that number, I have to, it's an int type. So basically, and then I'll give the address of the first variable. And same thing I will do with the second variable. So it was there. I have got the user input. I have the number stored in the first. So to swap those number, I'll just do this one. I'll store the first variable in the temporary variable. Then I'll store the second variable in first variable. Now the whatever there's in second variable, it will be stored in first variable, and whatever was the first in first variable is now lost. So since it was stored in temp as the first, so now basically it has been swapped. So whatever was in first is got into second, and second in the second into the first. So the basic thing that I need to do is now print the output. After swapping first number is, it's not a string. Similar thing I'll do with the second one. Okay. Here the program ends. And it will print the swap numbers. Just checking if indentation is needed somewhere. Okay. All right. Let's run this program. So output will be swap and input will be swap.c. So run the swap. It will ask me for the first number, say 12, and I will say 84. So now it has swapped those those numbers. Now you will see the difference between the Python and C. Here I need not to declare any variable, so I'll not ignore that, and I'll just copy paste the other two. The printf does not work, so I'll just print. There's no need of printf actually. So since I have to take input in the first, so I'll just type first is equal to input, then I'll mention enter first number. So this I'll copy from here. The first number. Same I'll do with the second. enter second number. Then in Python, what you can do is just in one line you can swap those two numbers. First, there's no need of using the third variable, the third party variable. So what you can do directly is second, first. Whatever was in second, it will store in first, and whatever in the first, it will store in second. And then I'll just print it. See how concise it is become the whole program, and I'll just run it. Let's see if there's no error. Python swap dot 12. Enter first number 1584. Now see the numbers are swapped, the output is same, everything is same. Just the difference is you can see there's a lot of difference in syntax. You can read it very easily. First, it takes just in first equal to input, so it's very readable there. Second is input, and then you can see that second is stored in first, then first is stored in second, and then simply print the output. Okay. Now the next program I'm going to show you is the basically check whether a string is palindrome or not. Now for this one, there's a lot need to be done in C. So I'll just create a new file and save it as palindrome. And again, I'll just copy paste this one. So to start this, I have to get the input from user in terms of string. So the string is basically defined as character. So I'll just say enter a big number. So there's a difference. See that I have to define an array. I'm defining basically an array, and I have to define the size also. So the size is fixed. You cannot change once it is defined. So that's why I have to define it very big in case the user enters a bigger number, bigger string. So now I'll ask the user to enter the string, and store that string as. So okay, so this will not take the strings directly. What I have to do is I'll use another library just meant for the string. String.h. So this library contains some of the functions that can be used with the string. So I have to simply do what is get string, and it will be stored in string1. Now, why I've defined two strings is what I'll do is I'll just copy the first string in the second one, string copy. Yes, and I'll just copy the s1 in s2. This is the syntax for the this function, that s1 will be stored in s2 right now, and for reversing the string, there's another function that will do the reversal of second string. Why I'm doing the reversal is basically I need to check whether even after reversal it will be the same or not. So here I'll check whether the string is same or not. So I'll compare the strings using another function, that is string compare, and I'll just compare the two strings, S1 and S2. So if that is the compare screen, okay. So just I'll restart writing the that particular code in Python. I'll just save this one as merge sort.py. So the first task is to get the user input. I'll use the list data structure in C to do that. So what I'll do is there's a thing in the Python that's list comprehension. What it does is it does a bigger task in just one line of code. It basically creates a list. There's no need to go for the for loop that as in C. So it does that repeated task of creating list in just a single line of code. So the for loop will be inside inside the list itself. So for x in input, I'll get the input right here. So whatever the input the elements of array. I'll just ask the question right here. Input elements of the first array. There's no need to ask user for how many elements is going to enter. So straight away I'm just asking the user, because in Python you have the freedom to get as many as number of input from user, and there will no say you do not need to declare the size of list beforehand, and it can be extended whatever the. So till now I've got the input from user in just 2 lines, whereas in C I had to do all this just to get the user input. Now I did the merging of those two lists in just single line. In C, I had to do all this. I had to run 2 for loops, and there's in this one there's no for loop right now. There's no import of any external library. It is all within the Python. So now what I will do is I'll use the sort method of that is available within the list itself. So what I'll do is just sort the list 3. And since it's a descending order, I have to do it in reverse order. By default, it's in ascending mode. So I'll just make it true. So that means it will sort my list in basically descending order right now. Then I'll just print that particular list. I'll just copy paste this one. Change it to print, and merged array in descending order is, and then I'll just print that particular list, the list 3. So this is the whole program that was done in C in say 61 lines. Here it's done in 8 lines only. I'll just run this program once so you can see the output. Python merge.py. But asking me to enter the number, I'll just give the spaces. So I've entered the 5 elements just in the like in C case, and here I'll enter the 4. here it is amount is merged as well as total amount it is merged as well. So you can see the same thing can be done inside the C. Okay, this seems to be a problem here. I did the list one only twice. No problem. Just run it again. I'll enter the same numbers. Now you got the merging of two lists. Those two lists are merged and have been sorted just in 8 lines of code. Now you can see the ease of writing the code in Python, the of Python, and the power of Python and power of that basically you do not need to import different libraries to do the same task. In C, you have to import some kind of libraries and do a lot of writing, and that writing also will not very much readable here. So we'll enter Q&A session.